This episode is sponsored by the Home Inspector team. It seems like everywhere you look nowadays, you see new homes popping up all over the place like dandelions in the spring. You have to wonder how well those homes are being built with how fast they're building them. That's where the Home Inspector team comes in. With their new construction bundle, you can have every phase of your new construction home professionally inspected to make sure no mistakes are being made. First, they come out before the drywall is installed to make sure the construction and utility rough-ins are done properly, because once they are out of sight, they are out of mind. Before you move in, they ensure everything is functioning properly and provide essential information to help you maintain the home, safeguarding your family and your investment. And finally, just before the builder's warranty expires, they come in to make sure that everything is A-OK, and if it's not, they make sharing your inspection report with the builder a breeze. Scheduling an appointment with the Home Inspector team is super easy. I just did it myself. Just visit their website, thehomeinspector.team, to get an instant quote and to schedule the inspection at a time that works best for you. And don't forget to mention our podcast to receive a special discount. Now back to the show.
She has been captivating audiences for years with her wit and charm, straight from the networking floor to give you all the dirt. It's Dusta! Hi, y'all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with the people who took the plunge and the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta.
Hey, y'all. Today we are joined with Valerie Weaver from Freedom Wildlife Solutions. Welcome, and thank you for coming out today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited. We have known each other for a couple of years now. We met at, I believe it was a Tang event. Was it Tang? I don't remember.
I think you're right. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shout out to Tang. We're going to be
Yes.
having them on the podcast soon. I'm super excited. Going to go meet some of the board members and kind of get an idea of why it's so great. It's one of the podcasts. It's one of the networking groups that we talk about a lot because networking is really big for entrepreneurs.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I've only I visited there just once or twice. But yeah, I think I met you at one of the mixers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I meet a lot of people, which is great, and I have a bad memory, and that's okay. So I'm going to dive right into it. Tell us about you. Like, where are you from? And tell us about your company.
Okay. Well, I'm from Illinois. I've been here in North Carolina since 2012. So being an entrepreneur wasn't necessarily always my dream. While I have been self-employed, running a company wasn't something I had aspired to do, but it was a dream of my husband's. And so I like being with my husband. So, he's, let's do this. I'm like, let's do it. Okay. So that was how I got into Freedom Wildlife Solutions.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell us about Freedom Wildlife Solutions. What do you handle?
Yeah, so we handle all wildlife, anything that gets into the house or your business, as far as bats, birds, squirrels, snakes, any kind of critter that you don't want in your house. We're the ones to call to come get it out, clean up the mess they've made, repair the damage they've done, and then do prevention so you don't have to deal with this again. We started the business in 2018.
Still young. Wow, but that's still better. I started in 2020, so you've been at it longer than me. I love it.
Just a little bit. Yeah. And just this past fall, September, we added pest control. So now we're a one-stop shop for everything, the wildlife and the bugs, the ants, the roaches, mosquitoes, whatever. We're keeping your home and business critter and pest free.
I love that. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
That's it's great. I used to do promotional work for a pest control company in the past, so I learned a little bit and more than enough to say I don't want to do it. Gonna be honest. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Not something you hear of too often, and people always ask, well, how did you get into it? And because of my husband. But I am of the personality of, yeah, I want to do everything and try everything. Like, you could ask me, do I want to go shovel poop? And I'm like, yeah, let's go do it. Sounds fun. I like helping people, and I was never I want to do this one thing forever. So I mean, this is really kind of great because different seasons bring different animals, different bugs, and so while it's the same, it is always different. Every house is different, every animal is different. So yeah,
That's
I enjoy
great.
it.
I love that you said that because I'm the same way. I don't want to do the same thing for the rest of my life. And you can clean a toilet 100 times and you just get bored. So
Exactly.
I feel you 1,000%. That's why sometimes it's nice when a client's like, "Hey, I don't want you anymore to clean," and you're like, "Yes, okay, I'll go find some new toilet." I get it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
and
I
that's
want to
great.
do a little bit of everything.
I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah.
It's ADHD. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just embrace it.
Exactly. Lean into it. That's what I've been doing. I'm no longer hiding it. It is what it is, which
Yeah.
is why sometimes the podcast can go all over the place, but it's okay. The whole idea is there, right?
It is. And you've got a lot to pull on. You've done a lot in your life. So, I mean,
It's true.
embracing who you are and making the best of who you are.
It's true, and that's something else I like to highlight too is when you are an entrepreneur, you never do one thing all the time, and sometimes you become a serial entrepreneur and you will do a company, turn around and sell it and move on to something new just out of either boredom or the fact that you feel accomplished. So I don't
Yes.
think it's a bad thing at all. I think that makes you a great entrepreneur, being able to also pivot as much as you do and
Yes.
learn.
Yes. Pivoting all the time, learning, growing, changing. Yes. In the beginning it was a bit much. Like, I mean, we were changing, by the minute you're
Oh
learning, you're
yeah.
growing, you're figuring stuff out. And I just remember being like, oh my goodness, can we just try this for a week? Do we have to change everything so much so quickly? But so that was definitely a hurdle I had to get over. While I'm all for the change, the speed of change was so much in the beginning.
It is, and that is something else that I did not realize when I jumped into being an entrepreneur. I was like, "Wow, everything changes every single day until you get more established," is what I feel.
Yes.
And
Yes.
depending on your business, if we're being honest.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, you're always going to be changing and growing, but there are things you no longer have to change. There are some things that can remain. You just maybe change them a little bit. It's not such
Yes.
dramatic changes like in the beginning.
Right. Well, and you're just getting your feet like under you too. So
Right.
sometimes you have to try a lot of different things in order to figure out the one that works. And so the fact that you're able to do that is wonderful.
Yeah. It was a struggle. It wasn't without the struggles. But I'll tell you, doing it with my husband has certainly been great for our marriage. A lot of people might have a different opinion about that. Well, it was hard, and two different people with two different ideas and two different ways of working. But it has certainly helped us in our communication all around. While it was, hard there for a while,
We
it has
figured it
really
out.
smoothed things out and understanding each other and how our brains are so different, but how we can complement each other.
I agree with you 1,000%. Having a business partner does make it seem a lot more manageable. I guess that's
Yes.
not maybe the word I want to use, but it just, in general, the ups and the downs and the craziness because it's not just you alone. I'm
Yeah.
doing it alone, but my business partner is also, my daughter.
Right.
So it's
Right.
it's different. Like it's not she's not required to go out and make extra money if we can't make it work.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
totally different. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah.
So tell us about your support system. Like who is or was your biggest supporter, and like how has having that support helped you achieve your success?
Oh, well, I mean, it's definitely my husband. It's been me and him. Outside of that, people, people
Yes.
being in business, networking and meeting other business owners. I think in our second year or third, I can't remember, but we got into a national wildlife control operators group, and that was just life changing for us. I wish we had done it in the early years, but it's a network of people all over the country that do what we do. Because while being an entrepreneur is very different, catching critters is even more different.
I'd imagine so.
What you do? What? So having that network has been amazing. It's like a big family. You can reach out to them, contact them, and everybody's sharing ideas and what they're doing and what's working and what maybe hasn't worked. It's a great group of people to pull from.
And that's great that you found them.
Yes,
That's amazing because
yes,
that's something else I'd like to try and, highlight on here is like there is like the chamber of commerce, there is stuff like that. There's
yeah,
networking, but if you need to get more into your niche, you need to find a
yes.
specific group. So,
Yeah, that has been so helpful. Like I said, it's people all over the country that do what we do, which you don't know until you know, until you go to these things. So yeah, we now go every year to the conference, and it's yeah. I
that's
mean, always
amazing.
something to learn. Yeah.
I feel like you can learn something from everyone. I don't care if it's a person on the street. They all have something for you to learn.
It's true.
So that's great.
I believe that as well.
So what was your ready moment that made you jump into the entrepreneurship? You said you started in 2018, which means you had a 2-year lead on COVID.
Yes. So I mean, so this is actually the third business my husband and I had started. And the first one was a PI business, and then we went into the farming, and then he was working for another company, just removing birds out of like grocery stores, and met people in there that did wildlife removal on the side or previously, and he was like, "Yep, I can do this." And so it wasn't like a hey, let's go at that point. It was he was doing it. I was coming out when I could. We both had other jobs, but about 2 years in, I think I had quit my job a little bit before that mark, but he was like, okay, like I'm gonna have to quit because I can't do both. And it was, are we gonna do it? Because it's risky.
It is.
It's risky, but big risk, big reward, right?
1,000%.
So he did it. We did it. We went all in. This is our sole income, this business. For the first year and a half, maybe 2 years, we did not get paid. We were using, other jobs, other incomes, and we just put everything back into the business. And yeah, so
I feel
risky.
that 1,000% because that's why I chose a cleaning business to start, because I figured, well, I'm not going to need that much money to start it, but I know that I can recoup the money quickly.
Yeah,
And so I feel you 1,000%. There's a
yeah,
lot of people out there that were in your position or even had to take out loans in order to purchase a business or whatever.
right,
And so they're not making money.
right.
So that I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that is something a lot of people struggle with.
Yes, we didn't. We did. Like I said, we had other jobs and other incomes, and we didn't want to go into debt. We had just done Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you've heard
Yeah,
of
I've
him, the
heard of it.
financial. And just had surrounded ourselves with a bunch of people that did that. So we didn't want to go that route. So we did what we had to do to not go that route. And yeah, it's worked.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
We did talk to the Clayton Chamber of Commerce, and they do a Launch Joko program. So I didn't know if you were familiar with that. They offer grants as well. So
Yes.
there is options out there to further the business.
Absolutely. So I had heard about it from joining the chamber and or the Rotary Club, but my husband Rob actually just went and met with Susan, and he has filled out his application or turned in whatever to for the registration for the Launch Joko. So he will, if he gets picked, will be doing it.
I'm
this
so
year.
excited.
Yes.
I got to hear all about the program yesterday, and I also got to interview Jess Stomberg from Right Angles Framing and Art. She's downtown Clayton.
Okay.
She actually went through the Launch Joko program, and she loved it. She had nothing but good things to say. She said that you do have to do a lot of homework, but what it is it's working towards your own business. It's not like you're doing it for someone else.
Yeah.
You don't get graded on it. It's, how well your business will do. So
yes.
it's a great program. And she said she got a mentor, and this was her first opportunity ever being an entrepreneur. So I hear such great things. I'm so excited for you.
Yes.
I'm hoping that everything works out really well, like it did for her.
Yes, us too. I'm very excited. Like I said, I had heard about it, but that's not my brain. That's not where I fit in. I'm the labor, the workforce, the socializing. So when my husband found out about it, and he met, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna submit." And I'm like,
so
"That's
happy.
Great. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah."
so you're gonna love it.
Yeah,
and you're
I
gonna get to
know.
meet so many different people and the mentor.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna stop because I can go on forever. Switching gears a little bit. What advice was most impactful, and what advice would you give someone who's like wanting to start a business?
Ooh.
I could go first. I always say this all the time, but do it stupid, because you'll figure it out as you go. That's one of my favorite ones.
I mean, yeah, that I would say just do it.
Yeah.
So starting, that would be the biggest hurdle I think a lot of people face. But I would say take a business class. Take advantage of. There's a lot of free stuff out there. There's a lot of other business owners out there that you could reach on. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That I would say that, and just utilizing the resources around you. But definitely, I think taking a business class is something if you want to run a business, everybody should do.
That's great advice. And the Small Business Association at Johnston Community College offers a lot of free courses to help you, from bookkeeping to tax problems to, how to craft a good elevator pitch, whatever it is. Like, they offer a lot of free classes.
Yes. Take advantage. Take advantage.
100%.
Reach out. Ask.
And do things like we're doing now, meet with other entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And even if they're not in your field, and just ask questions like,
Mhm.
how did you do this? When did you get to this point?
Yes.
All of the things.
Ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't feel stupid for asking the questions. We're all just figuring this out.
We're all winging it, myself included.
Yes.
I have a little experience, but I was like, I know what not to
Is
do.
it?
I didn't know what to
Yeah.
do. And that was kind of
Yeah.
where my barrier was when I started my company. So I started looking at all the stuff I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And then I would meet with people in my same, field, almost a jurisdiction, like I'm a cop, my same field. And I'd be like, hey,
Yeah.
tell me about how you accomplished this. And that's how I found out
Yeah.
about the Squarespace that I use for my scheduling.
Okay.
So that way I
Absolutely.
was sending, because I wasn't sending reminder text or anything, because first of all, that takes up a lot of time.
Yes.
So I was like,
Yes.
no. But
Yes.
just getting a scheduler was very helpful to me.
Yes. Asking the questions, asking the people that have done it. Finding those people is huge, because you don't need to do it all alone. You don't need to make it up yourself. Somebody has done it. Find out who has and ask them how they did it.
100%.
Yeah.
And
But I love yours. Do it stupid. Just do it. Do it.
it's what we're doing with this podcast, and we're
Jump.
figuring it out. But I'm also doing it this way because I want people to see the growth from my first episode to, my 100th and 50th, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I just want to show, hey, I didn't know what I was doing, but I started it because I had a dream and I believed in this, and we're going to go from there.
I love that. I
So
love that.
I'm a big dreamer. I'm sure everyone's figured that out by now.
Yes. Well, entrepreneurs are.
We have
They
to
have
be.
big dreams, big visions.
That's
Yeah.
true. And I one quote that I kind of freaked me out. My daughter told me, she said that if you don't pursue your dreams, you'll end up working for someone who did.
Wow.
And I was like, why would you literally bring that negativity in my life?
That's profound. Yeah, your daughter's very wise.
Oh, for sure. Like, she is awesome. I love her.
Yeah.
That's why she's my business partner.
Yeah. It's amazing.
She's got a lot of good advice.
Yes.
I told her she should start her own podcast and just give advice.
Absolutely. Yes.
So switching gears back to the business, how would you like to see the company grow? Like, I know you started out just you and your husband. Are you looking to like take over more area? Are you looking to hire more? How do you want to see it grow?
Yes. My husband's a dreamer. He's got big dreams. He does want to take it, all over, across North Carolina, maybe the whole East Coast. He's got big dreams.
That is big. I love it, though.
So we definitely want to grow. We want to create, be local, be known here in our town of Clayton, and do a lot here. But he does, want to go bigger than that. So yeah, hiring, building a team, getting a good team of people and multiplying that as best we can, and have different, what's the word I'm looking for? Hubs.
Yeah.
As we grow. Right now we cover Wake, Johnston, and Harnett County, and just outside of that, we in the beginning of the year stretched into Wayne,
wow.
Lee County, I think done. So we've got big plans to grow.
That's great. And you have how many trucks? I've seen them all over the road and I love them. Every time I see them, I get so excited. I'm like, I know that lady.
We have 3 trucks. Yeah. 2 wildlife trucks and 1 pest control truck currently.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're growing right along on track. I love it.
We are. It's definitely hard finding, team members, retaining the team members. Again, what people think a wildlife technician is not it. What we are is home repair people, essentially. We have to repair the damage the animals have done, and then prevent new animals from getting back in. So it's a lot of working on a roof, working off a ladder. It's not in the woods chasing animals.
Right, or setting up traps to come back later.
Yes, well, that's a part of our job. It is the smaller part of the job.
So, one qualification you have to have is not being afraid of the animals.
Definitely. That would be ideal, yes. Can't be afraid of the animals.
It's like, oh, that's scary. I'm good.
Yes, absolutely.
So I do have to ask, because I am from Florida, have you ever had to trap or get rid of alligator?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. They're coming up here. The armadillos are coming up here. We have not yet come across them.
I was like, give it time.
No, yeah, I know they're coming. Yeah, no, I know that.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I've watched some people do it. When I was a kid, one of my best friends had a baby alligator, and she kept it in her bathtub until
Oh
it
my
got too big.
gosh, you're kidding
And
me.
she also had a raccoon and a squirrel. But
Oh, yeah.
again, I it sounds funny because like if you look up where I live, it's so much money. It's like LA. All right.
Yeah.
Like there's so much money there. It's so
Yeah.
fancy. But then I grew up in this little redneck neighborhood where we were playing in the woods and hanging out with squirrels and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a very interesting childhood. We used to just, oh, this is our pet now. Possums, raccoons. Oh my God.
Yes. Well, they are so cute.
They're little cute trash
Nature's
pandas.
bandits. They are. They're
They
adorable.
are. I had one time get into my trash can and it had a broken leg when it got into the trash can, or maybe it fell and broke. I'm not really sure, but it was an empty can. And I kept hearing it rustling around with a chip bag in the middle of the night. And I flipped out because I'm like, what is that noise? Right? Like, are you
Yeah.
trying to get into the house or whatever? And I
Yeah.
go out and it's this little cute baby raccoon. And I called animal control and I was like telling them what the problem was. And they go, why are you calling me? Just tip the trash can over and let it out. And I was like, but its leg is broken. So
Yes.
I felt so bad
Yeah.
for it.
So yeah, so that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, but we do get a lot of calls about that. While we're not rehabbers, I am in my mentorship to rehab some of the animals. I do squirrels and I've done possums and flying squirrels, and that is fun and interesting and definitely a side that's needed. But that is a way to help people that are listening to this. We're actually not the ones to call for that. You actually need a licensed rehabber if you have an injured animal. And I do have a list that I do share with anybody that does call us to rehab them, or yeah, to rehab them out. But rabies vectors, which raccoons are one, not everybody can do. Only certain people you have. That's a whole nother license. So yeah, knowing who to call.
100%.
Wildlife Welfare Inc. is a great resource if you see an injured animal. I think that's the main one. I'm sure there's another one, but yes,
It's okay. If you
yeah,
think about it later, we can share it with the
absolutely,
episode.
yeah,
That way
yeah,
people have some frame of
yes,
reference. I love
yes,
that. Thank you. That's what this is about, sharing information.
absolutely. Because yeah, people call animal control and they call us, and that it's a whole other license. It's a whole other jurisdiction.
So speaking of animals, we
Yes.
were talking about bats a little bit earlier. So can you tell people about the bat removal process and times they can do it and things of that nature? Because that's something not a lot of people are aware of. At least I wasn't.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's definitely becoming more known as they did put it on the news last year or two. But yes, there's a moratorium from May 1st to July 31st where we can't legally remove bats that are not inside a living space. So if you have bats in the attic, they get to live there rent free for the summer. We can come out and do the inspection and draw you up a quote to take care of it starting in August. And they are protected, so nobody can touch them during that time. If you have one flying inside your home, yes, then we can come get it and get that tested to see whether or not that's one of the concerns with bats. It's a very, I don't want to say it's not a huge concern, but the amount that actually gets tested that come back rabid, I think, is less than 2%. But that's one of the main things people freak out about. So rather than you just letting the bat out or killing it or doing something, do call us. We can get it, remove it, and get it tested. And then that way, you're safe.
Yes, it's important.
But yeah, so that's the blackout period that we can't evict them out of, the attic. And then again through the winter months, December, January, and February. If you find them in the attic, they also get to stay there because that's where they've chosen to hibernate for the winter. But once the weather warms up, then we can again evict them. So you got about 6 months out of the year that we can get them out of where they're at. And we do that not by trapping or catching them, it's through just exclusion. And what that is putting up a bat valve that acts like a one-way door. It allows them to leave because they're going to leave at night to eat. If the bugs are out, they're out. And then they just can't get back in that tube. And we've sealed up the home so they can't get back in anywhere else. That's how we actually get the bats out.
Yes, and you were mentioning about, if you're having a bat exclusion, make sure you tell your neighbors because
Yes, tell your neighbors because they're likely going to go to the neighbor's house to their gable vent or soffit vent. So, yes, be friendly to your neighbors. Let them know because we can do the prevention. We can go ahead and put the screens up, the metal up, so they can't even enter to begin with. And it'll force them to go, find a tree in the woods or a bat house. We do offer that as well to put up bat houses to give them a safe place to go.
that's awesome. I
Yeah,
think my
yeah.
neighbors over there have some. They live in a big field.
Okay, yeah.
So I saw them
Yeah.
one time and I was like, I don't understand what that is. It doesn't look like a birdhouse.
Yes, yes, really tall birdhouse.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
Yes, we definitely offer that because a lot of people do like them and want to keep them around, and they're great to have around. They do eat a lot of bugs, so they are a bug control. They are a form of pest control. They can help you with that. So yeah, that's definitely another option we have, giving them a safe place to go once we do kick them out of your house.
No, that's amazing. So what if somebody does have a raccoon problem or possum or whatever? You trap them and then what? Do you take them? Where do you take them?
Yeah, so depends on the animal. So we do follow all state laws and regulation when it comes to the animals. Some animals can be relocated, and those we will relocate. Certain ones have to be euthanized.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not
So
know that.
yes, we do a lot that we do everything in our part that we can do to not have to euthanize innocent animals, but we do have to follow all the state laws. The license we hold is a damage control agent license, and so we have to follow all the laws according to the state when it comes to the animals we catch and remove.
Okay. It's good information. I didn't know that. Because why would I?
Because
Obviously.
exactly, because why would you? Yeah, and that's another thing too. There are a lot of protections, like, hey, I've got a snake in my yard. We can't just come get the snake out of the yard. He's not doing anything wrong by being there. So there are laws like we can't just come get an animal because you're necessarily just afraid of seeing it. That's to protect them because they're allowed to be outside. It's just when they get inside the home, that's when we can remove them.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
I did not know that either. That's okay.
Yes. Coyotes walking around the neighborhood, we can't just come get them and remove them. They're not necessarily doing anything wrong by because you saw them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so they do have to be causing damage or inside your home in order for us to come and get them out.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Hey, the more knowledge, the better.
Yes,
Do
absolutely.
you deal with moles?
We do.
Tell me what that would look like.
Yeah,
Because I hear
so
that they're kind of difficult to get rid of, and sometimes they can go to your neighbor's house. So tell us about that.
yeah, so they do. They probably travel to your house, your neighbor's house. They have a deep underground tunnel system. The thing is, they're always there. You just happen to notice them when their tunnels are at the surface level. So we do have we use pest control to eliminate them or trapping if necessary. But yes, what we do doesn't guarantee you're not going to have a new mole in your yard after we've taken care of what's there.
True.
The moles eat the bugs, the grubs, the earthworms, everything underground. So they're the ones that make the tunnels. But then there's also the voles that they actually come up out of the ground. You'll see about quarter size holes in the yard, and they'll eat your shrubs and plants.
Oh,
But again, we get you take care of them through pest control. Voles
interesting.
are like mice in the repopulation. They about repopulate every month.
Oh,
Moles are seasonal. Like they mate in the spring, and that's when you see kind of a boom in them.
I did not know. More information, the better. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love learning, clearly.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We deal with all the critters. All the critters.
All of them. No, that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
excited. Well, do you have more information on our website if anybody wants to learn about anything else?
Absolutely. We have a bunch of blogs, all the information you could ever want on our website, freedomwildlifesolutions.com. Yep. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.
Oh, wow. Well, we're going to post all those links when we drop your episode so
Fabulous.
people can contact you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you too, like, how do you measure success? Because you're wildlife removal, and I
Hmm.
guess you can't go based on how many animals you've removed, right? Like, how do we measure success in our business?
Yeah. So I mean that would be by referrals, people referring us out. We've done a good job. They're happy with our work. They want to tell people about us. With wildlife, um, if we've done our job well and they've wanted a full home exclusion, they really shouldn't have to call us back again because we sealed up the home. But if we've dealt with one animal and they came back to us because they now have a different animal in a different area of the house, that's I would call that success. They'd come back to us. They didn't just go find another company. But since we started pest control, I would say the number of people that we retain that stay with us for pest control and don't leave and go somewhere else. I would also say success would be retaining team members.
Yes, especially in the service industry,
Yes.
100%, because that is
Yes.
something we have fought with for 100 years.
Yes, yes. So I would say that would be a great success. People
100%.
want to work with us and want to stay with our company.
Which is great, and then you offer benefits and you give them
We do.
training, so
We
it's,
do.
a really good work environment, so they should be
Yes.
more than happy to stay. I
You
agree.
would think.
You would, I know. I'm
But it's
saying
the
this
type
kinda
of
like,
work. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's all I could think about is, the bugs. I can't. No, thank you.
Yes. It takes special people.
For sure, because I no, thank you. Um, I pay for pest control because I
Yeah.
don't ever want to see them at all. And
Yes.
then when I like see earwigs or whatever, I'm all like, well, I know you're like harmless, so just
Yeah,
smash, you're good.
I'll just let you be.
Yeah, like hang out in the kitchen, whatever.
Yeah. Leave
My
me
favorite
alone.
thing is I'll just walk by and I'll be like, I don't see it. Doesn't exist because I know it'll go away. That's fine.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Right. Ignore it. It will go away. It'll move on.
Yeah, and like they're earwigs, they don't do anything.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm okay with them. It's them flies, I'm gonna be honest with you, that I cannot deal with, and there's nothing you
Yeah.
can really do to make it
No.
go away.
No.
So
No. Yeah. Since we started pest control, I'm like, can we eradicate flies?
I am
Is this
with
a thing
you
we can do?
because I live in the country essentially, and there's a farm right over there, and I have a freaking fly problem. And I'm just like, is this where I live? Is this normal?
Yes, and yes, and yes.
All the
Flies
yeses.
have a role. I'm sure they do.
Like they're sky raisins for my cute little puppy.
There you go.
I love watching him try to snap at them. It is so funny because you're
Yes.
just sitting there all of a sudden, he's like, and I'm like,
Yes.
what are you doing?
Oh yeah. Yes. Toys.
Yeah, he
Little
loves it.
toys. Little
And my
snacks.
daughter, I love her to death. My little one, she will catch them. She catches flies.
That's impressive.
You're telling me one time when she was 3, I just have to tell you this story. She, those little gumball, like they had the prize
Yes.
things with the lid.
Yeah.
She's outside. She is 3 years old. She went and caught a wasp, and she goes, "Look, mom!" And I was like, I don't even know what to do with that information. I freaked out and handed it to her father. I was like, "This is all you, dude. I don't know. I'm not opening it. I'm not.
I don't know what to do with this.
I don't know.
Handle this.
Like, yeah, this is your problem.
Bugs. No.
No, thank you. No." And she'll like even now. She caught one the other day, and I was like,
Wow.
"Are you good?" Like not with a fly swatter, with her hands.
Yes.
I'm like, "Okay, girl."
Yes. That's
Jackson
amazing.
is joining us on the podcast again. He would like to whine.
Yep.
Oh, Jackson. He decided he has a lap dog all of a sudden, and now he is jumping in everyone's lap. That's okay. Tell me I'm a liar.
He's cute.
He's a funny guy. All right, so back to the podcast. I know sometimes I get off subject.
That's all right.
What is your main marketing strategy? Do you use networking? Do you use print, internet? How do you market yourself?
Yep, Google.
Google?
Mm-hmm.
That's your biggest one.
That's the main one. Yeah, you gotta look at it like when people are dealing with this. It's like, oh my gosh, I got an animal house. Who am I gonna call? So Google,
Immediate to Google.
Yeah, yeah. Well, while we do networking, I was actually able to get out. I think that's last year. Whenever I first met you, that was like my first out and about of networking. I did a little bit in 2019, and then the shutdown came. And so I think last year was the first time I was able to start getting out and networking, and that I love. I'm like, this needs to be my full-time job. Can I be paid to sit around and talk all day? This is great. And so, but that has been huge. So that is definitely outside of Google, probably the second biggest thing that we do.
So you mentioned that you're part of the Rotary.
Yes.
So
the Rotary Club of Clayton.
Yes, tell us about that. I learned a little bit with the Clayton Chamber of Commerce, but I want to hear your experience and all about it.
So it is a networking group. This chapter does focus a lot on being in the community and how can we help the community. So they do the Flags for Heroes events. They put on the Christmas parade and other just little things around town. A great group of people. We meet every Thursday morning, 6:45 at Rainbow Lanes. Come for breakfast and coffee, and the meetings from 7 to 8. And it's just people from all over the town, small business, some people not in small business, just whatever. It's a great resource for being part of the small town that Clayton actually is. Mm-hmm. It makes this town that's really, really growing, it's like a part of the family.
I love that. Something I was talking with several people about is how welcoming the Clayton community is.
Yes.
And how easy it is to just volunteer your time, come in, make friends. It's not hard. I'm from an area where you never saw the same person twice. I don't care what you did. I mean, there's just
Yeah.
so many people. And
Yeah.
it doesn't give you that much of a community feel because it is a big city.
Right.
You know,
Right.
obviously when I was growing up, it was different, but just vastly different from here. It's great. I love it here.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's fascinating. When my first meeting, I was like 6:45. Okay, I can do that.
This
I'm
is
up.
AM, guys.
Yeah, a.m. I'm up. I'm not usually up and out the door, but yeah, just after my first meeting, I had just found like I found my people. It's the people that they're up first of all that early and want to talk, but they're just serving people all day every day. They're just out in the community helping and doing and giving back, and that is my heart, to help people and serve people in any way I can. So I had just felt like these are my people.
Which I love. And I also like to highlight is the fact that when you are an entrepreneur, you want to give back to the community you serve. And so there
Yes.
are different outlets in which to do that.
Hmm.
It's just kind of one of our spirit things, I want to say, or personality traits or
Yeah.
markers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
One of
because
our characters.
there you go.
Yeah.
I eventually I
You
get it.
got it. You got it.
I'm not great with the recall of the actual word I want to use. And that's terrible, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
You are who
Welcome.
you are.
Yep. Welcome to being a human being.
Yes. Welcome to me. I love that.
That's why I never do any editing on my podcast because I want people to understand that I am going to mess up, but I am a human being and I am learning, and that's okay.
That is okay. Yes, absolutely. I do love that. That will help so many people, just knowing, just yeah, you can just do it and do it stupid.
And do
Do it
it stupid.
awkward.
Yeah, do it
Do
awkward.
it. Yeah,
Just do it.
just do it. Just make it happen.
It's true because if
Yeah.
I hadn't have jumped in with 2 feet, not knowing what I'm doing, I would not have all the opportunities I have currently, and I wouldn't know the people that I know and the community that I've built and the community that I help and know. Like it's an
Yes.
amazing journey. It has
Yeah.
been a wild ride because when I first moved to Clayton, I didn't know anyone because I just
Right.
moved here
Right.
from Garner. Like we're just doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Clayton has been great.
Yeah, I mean, when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody, and I was a nanny at the time, so I didn't necessarily meet people. I met a family and their kids. I jumped into church right away. I knew I wanted something different, and I wanted a community, and so that was my first, like, let me be somewhere, let me get involved, and then starting a business and growing, and then finding Rotary. It's I don't, yeah, you have to come to Rotary. You have to come check it out.
I'm going to because it's
I just
actually at the
can't tell
time
you
I
how
can
good
do.
it feels to be. I mean, people are up and smiling and happy at 6:45 in the morning. It's pretty amazing.
I need that in my life.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what a day in the life of a wildlife solutions person would be like?
Yes. So a day in their life. I was in the field for a long time. I've been in the office now for the last 2 years, but a day is different. You could be up sitting on a roof all day, securing a ridge vent and putting on all the attic fans and covers. You could be in a crawl space, getting out a possum or a snake. And then securing that crawl space so they don't have future invaders. Every day is different. Like I said, I think that was something that I really loved about it too. Well, we do have seasons, and we're right now is bat season because we just came out of the moratorium. So it's going to be bats for the next 2 months, and we're going to be screening gable vents, working on ladders, and at the peaks because that's where the bats are.
That's going to be fun because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who have bats currently.
Yes. It's
Funny
a
enough.
super common problem, unfortunately. The bats
Yes.
are everywhere. And well, the more we continue to take down the natural, they do have to find a place to go. And they find that our houses are quite safe and quite cozy, especially up in the attic. I mean, squirrels are up there, raccoons are up there, mice, snakes. You can
Yes.
find just about anything in an attic, really. But it's safe and it's quiet up there for them. So that's where they go.
So what's usually like the first sign somebody would notice that they have a bat problem?
Okay, well, so you would hear it sometimes, depending on where it's at in the home at dusk or dawn. I can't mimic the sound. You have to YouTube it. But one thing you will notice on the outside of looking at your house, little black dots on the siding. Anywhere a bat enters, anytime they leave an oil. So your gable vent, you might see some light brown spots that become darker and darker over time. That's the bats going in and out. But little black specks, and people often will actually see their droppings in the attic and mistake it for mice droppings. They do look very similar.
Oh.
But bat droppings are just a little different. They're shiny from all the exoskeletons and bugs that they eat. And they also, not that I'd advise you do it, but they do, they're not hard like a mouse dropping. Not that I would advise you pick up
Don't touch it.
that one. No. But yeah, from noticing it from the outside, the little black, like almost like Tic Tac size, a little bit smaller, dots on the side of your home, and you would look at the peaks. Or anybody knows what a gable vent? It helps your attic ventilate, and they're at the triangles, the peaks of the house.
That's what that thing is out front. Okay.
Yeah, a gable vent.
I was looking, I'm like, I don't understand why that's there.
Yeah,
I get it
yeah.
now.
But hearing it, which you say you started in the pandemic, so we were a little bit in, and we weren't sure how it was going to go. It actually, business definitely picked up because everybody was home hearing the animals all day. When they're gone at work and they're only home, on the weekends or here and there. But yeah, so it definitely did pick up because everybody was working from home. And
That's the same thing that happened with me is, well, we started out as commercial cleaning, but we literally started our business a month before the shutdown. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to pivot now because we can't go outside and
yeah,
everything's closed. So
yeah,
everyone was
yeah.
home and we flourished because everyone was like, I'm not cleaning this. I'm teaching here. I'm working, like I'm done.
Right, right, right.
So
Yes.
I look at it like, yes, it was a terrible time, but at the same time, it worked out really well for me in business. So I can't really be
Yes.
upset about it.
Same.
Like it is what it is.
Same. Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's something about being an entrepreneur. You have to learn how to pivot and quickly and accept whatever it's going to happen, because sometimes in business you can't expect a result. You could plan all you want, but you can't predict the
Right.
weather. Is that what they say? Something like that.
No, yeah.
So it's like,
Yes.
yeah, and that's great. And that actually is one of the characteristics that make you so amazing at your job.
Yes.
So I love that for you.
Thank you.
I'm like so excited about this. Like, I met her a while ago, guys. So we've been catching up every 6 months or so since
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. As often as we can. Yep.
And keeping that's another thing, keeping those relationships, alive by making sure you check in with business people. I always like
Yes.
to say that, you go to networking groups and yes, you're going to see them every week, but you need to nurture those relationships outside of it too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You do. It's for business, but it is for more than that. You are meeting people to develop relationships with people you like and want to be around and do life with. And so those take time. Yeah, you can't just be in a group, of 50 people once a week. You have to do the one-on-ones and get outside of it. Set up your own play dates.
Yeah, exactly.
Adult play dates.
But it's good for connecting. And I feel
Yes.
like it's very therapeutic to be able to be in the driver's seat with someone else who's also driving in the same direction you are.
Yes.
Because it's hard to connect with people who don't understand where you're at or what direction you're going.
Yes. Yeah. And people that don't run their own business don't get it.
No, and that's okay. We need those people too,
We
but
do.
we
Yeah, we
also
can't all
need,
be the business owners. We do need the worker bees.
yeah,
Yeah,
1,000%.
yeah.
And that's what I always like to, highlight is the characteristics of someone who is an entrepreneur is that they have the ability to switch quickly. They do nurture these relationships and they're
Yes.
networking constantly. Oh my God, constantly, which is great.
That is like a full-time job. Yeah,
Hmm.
I hadn't been doing much of it this year. I did have to go back into the office full time. So my networking had fallen off a bit, and I missed it so much. So I'm excited to be able to get back out there now more and meet
It's really
people.
great.
It is.
You meet some interesting people networking, which is
Yes.
a lot of the reason I started the podcast too, is because I wanted to bring on different folks from different varieties of work and things of that nature to get their perspective.
Yeah.
So networking is fabulous. I love it. And you said you're just in the Rotary Club currently.
Currently, yes. I'm in the chamber too.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
that is awesome. The Clayton Chamber?
Yes.
Same.
Yes, I did. I haven't been able to make those meetings as often. Like Rotary is before work. The meeting
Right.
gets done at 8 a.m. And so is I that one I can not I have no reason not to go there. Because it's before work. But the chamber, yeah, you haven't seen me there lately because
It's okay. They haven't seen me either,
yeah.
and I feel terrible.
Yeah.
Fridays, I have a client that I have to be there every Friday.
Yeah. You have to do what we
Occasionally,
have
I
to
can switch
do.
days,
Yeah.
but most of the time I don't because I don't want
Right.
to work Saturday.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yes.
So it's
Yes.
like, ugh. But I definitely think you guys should get out there and join a networking group, even if you just go to visit. That's another
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Just visiting gets you out there, get you the knowledge, get you the connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did. I did visit a couple different networking groups last year, just visiting. But yeah, I've committed to the Rotary and the Chamber at this time.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
And are you currently hiring?
Yes. Like to say we're always hiring.
Oh, no, that's great.
No,
Tell everybody.
Currently, absolutely. We are looking for another 1, 2, 3, if we could find the good ones, wildlife technicians.
And that's the ones that are going out there doing the bad
That's
exclusions.
the ones that are going out there getting the animals and doing the repair. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And do you have a application on your website?
It's not on our website. I don't believe it is on Indeed. But I can put it on our website. I do think it's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our posting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening and you know
Yes.
somebody,
Yeah.
reach out to Freedom Wildlife Solutions
And pest control.
and Pest Control.
It's now and pest control.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
And send an application and
Yes.
tell everybody where they can find you. I know you mentioned it earlier, but we're going to recap again. You said LinkedIn.
Yes, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and then our website, freedomwildlifesolutions.com.
And Google.
And Google, of course.
Google us.
Google us, yes. And everything is, Freedom Wildlife Solutions. So, yeah.
So before we go, I always like to ask one question. What is your best networking tip?
Make the time to do it. Make the time to do it.
It's definitely worth your time because you get such a good value out of it.
You do. Absolutely. It's I was actually just having this conversation with my husband because he started the business with Google and he has always been heavy into Google. And I'm like, why is that, the main focus? And he said it's the return on investment. You can see it right away, you can track it. Where the networking, he's not opposed to that at all. You just can't track that like you can track Google, and it takes time. Like a lot of people say networking, it doesn't cost you anything, but it costs you the most important thing. The one thing you can't get more of is time. So I would argue that it costs you the most. But that's what I would say, do it, because it can be the biggest payoff. You are building relationships, which is invaluable, not just to your business, but to life. You're meeting people and you're connecting, which is what we all need here. Just
100%.
true connection.
I agree. That's why I do this. It's very therapeutic to me to connect with other entrepreneurs and hear their story and know that they've had struggles too. And I'm not alone. Not on the island, they say.
Never alone. Yeah.
So, well, it's great. Well, thank you very much for coming out today and meeting with us in the studio and doing a podcast. I love it. So I
love the studio.
We just painted it, guys. But thank you very much. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Down Home Dirt. We'll see you again next time.